Now I'm going to show you how to perform the supraclavicular brachial plexus block, which is great for hand surgery, for forearm surgery, for arm surgery, and some people have used the supraclavicular brachial plexus block as a variant of that for shoulder surgery. I've got my model lying supine with the head turned to the contralateral position. This is a clavicle over here, and the probe is going to be placed in the supraclavicular fossa. This is the side we're going to be operating on. So and if we were going to be doing that, we'd have a block site mark or a surgical site mark there. I'm going to place this high frequency linear probe in the supraclavicular fossa, and in our model's case, as soon as I've done that, you'll see we get a view on the screen with a few white lines. I'm going to increase the depth just to emphasize that, and turn the gain up and increase the depth just to emphasize that. Now, when I do this, you'll see at the moment the circular pulsatile structure there, this is the subclavian artery, is resting on top of a bright white line with a big dropout artifact. That means that's bone. There's a white line behind it and a white line in front of it. So I like to call this the podium sign. You've got 3 white lines. So I think this is like first place on the medal podium. This is second place on the medal podium. That's anterior. This is third place on the medal podium. So those 2 white lines either side of that bone are the pleural reflections. There's a pleural line, which of course continues as a solid line behind the shadow of the clavicle. So when I've got this view, I know for sure that my subclavian artery, which is pulsatile over here, is lying on the bone and not on the pleura. So now I'm going to drop the depth. What I do want to emphasize is that depending upon the angle of your probe, I'm going to switch hands again now, I'm looking pretty much into my model's neck. If you look down towards the feet, you'll notice that subclavian artery is rolled onto a different structure, and the structure is rolled onto there is a pleura. I go looking into my model's neck, now you'll see that you can literally see the artery rolling over onto the first rib. So, having generated that view, we're now going to focus our attention posterior and lateral to that subclavian artery. So I'm now trying to position it over here. I'm trying to position my probe so it's lying over here. Now you've got a really wonderful view of pulsatile subclavian artery resting on the first rib. There's a structure that rises right over here. This looks like a vessel, but actually this is part of omohyoid, which is a muscle. And all this, people call it the bunch of grapes, all these structures over here are all part of the supraclavicular brachial plexus. So if you're going to perform a supraclavicular brachial plexus block, certainly in this model, we need to have a little bit of angulation towards the neck, but changing the probe position will alter where the brachial plexus lies. So I'm using these fingers to stabilize my hand, and I'm looking immediately posterior and lateral to that subclavian artery, and this is where the brachial plexus is lying. Now if we start to scan up the neck, you can see the plexus is coming really nice and tight together, and it's now going to be sandwiched. And oh, can you see there's a nice little cheeky blood vessel? If I put the coloured Doppler on, you'll see the blood vessel that's literally running right the way through. This is normal. Sometimes this is the transverse cervical artery, sometimes this is the suprascapular artery. I think this is the transverse cervical artery here. But what I wanted to emphasize is the brachial plexus is one continuum. So here, supraclavicular brachial plexus. As we start to scan up the neck, we're going to start to turn it into interscalene brachial plexus, which you will see happening at this point. We've got the anterior scaling, sternocleidomastoid, the middle scaling, and we come back down. You'll see there, this is the whole beautiful, compact supraclavicular brachial plexus. Now, to perform the block, you've got a couple of options. Number one, you can bring your needle in from the posterior aspect, which means coming in from the lateral aspect over here, from back here, and aiming, once you've brought your needle in there, you can aim to hydrodissect, so move it out of the way, hydrodissect your local anesthetic. So I'm obviously not suggesting you bend the needle like that, but the idea is to get local anesthetic in that corner. We call this the corner pocket, and aim to lift that plexus up and out of the way. That's one option. Or you could come over the top first and aim to fill local anesthetic above the brachial plexus, but certainly we should probably be sandwiching local anesthetic either side of that. What I do want to emphasize is that these are all neural structures in here. So a little bit of brachial plexus there. All these are components of the brachial plexus, whether they're the divisions or something else, or the the T1 nerve root right the way down from C5 to T1 nerve roots. These are probably at the division level. What we don't really want to be doing is sticking a local anesthetic or a needle inside these structures. So I would perform hydrodissection, lift the plexus up and out of the way. So certainly sandwich this. So local, be careful as you bring a needle in here, inject local anesthetic and make your way down to this corner pocket, lifting the plexus out of the way, and then do a superficial injection over the top. And there we go, lovely supraclavicular brachial plexus block. Artery on first rib, plexus posterior and lateral to it. Be cautious about what position to hold your probe in. If you want to hold it nice and low, and make sure you've got a really lovely view. Actually, something very interesting is happening as we do that. As we do that, look at this small black circle. As we go up the neck, can you see this small black circle is coming back to join the brachial plexus? So further down, it's separated out over here. There it is. And as I go up the neck, it's coming in to join the brachial plexus. That's actually the suprascapular nerve. And that suprascapular nerve, the reason that people don't like performing supraclavicular brachial plexus blocks for shoulder surgery is when the suprascapular nerve leaves the brachial plexus, as it does there, you're not going to get a significant amount of shoulder innervation.